flower is an endemic species with a strong jasmine smell. It's the symbol of the island's purity and harmony. In Tahitian, Tiare means flower, and so the Tiare flower means the flower of flowers. Every morning, as soon as the sun rises, Juliet goes to her field to pick the tiare right before they bloom.
It's a pleasure for me to be in the field. I'm free. There's the wind, I can hear the birds and everything. We have to come early so we can work with the fresh air from the valley. By picking the flowers early, we're able to keep their scent, because once opened, it's gone. I like it. I like this work. The flower is soft. It gives off a nice smell. It fills with fragrance. It makes us happy. You can have it above the ear like that, even without a crown. You see a tiare, you take it, and put it there, and that's it. All set for the day. Well, at least for me it looks nice.
Juliet can gather up to 2,000 flowers a day. She searches through the thick foliage of the bushes to find the stealthy buds.
I started in 1994. We brought some 300 tiare plants. Already then, people came and asked, "Are you selling flowers? We need some for the church and the temple." And I said, "Okay, fine." And that's how I started to pick some and give them. And then we became known through word of mouth, and customers started flooding. We continued with the culture until we reached 1,500 plants. And then I said, that's enough. We have enough. Because it demands a lot of work.
I'm
currently picking 50 flowers. So I have 50 here. I use an elastic band. Then I make another batch of 50 and put them together to make 100. We seldom need to water the plants. We have sun and water, everything we need. God is watering. However, we shouldn't forget God. Sometimes we need to send flowers to the church.
Simeon, Juliet's husband, is helping her reluctantly.
Whether we like it or not, we have to do it. There's no turning back. Every day. Even Sunday. I can't go to church anymore because of this.
Right. So I harvest the flowers for cosmetics, for private customers, for weddings, for burials, for celebrations.
On a un choix de matières premières à faire, on aime, ou en tout cas,
a bit for everyone, basically.
Les essences puissantes, c'est-à-dire qui ont un caractère et on les utilise pour ce caractère.
These are outie leaves.
La grande qualité de l'ambre, c'est d'avoir cette énergie solaire.
Because these leaves keep the flowers fresh for 2 or 3 days, even longer. You hold it and do this. Then you block it with your fingers. You shouldn't push too hard so as not to break the tip. Just enough to adjust. Then you put another leaf and you do this. Here we are. ready to go to France.
Before being a business, the flower is a cultural symbol that brings up sweet memories for Juliet.
There used to be a tiare plant over there, and my mother always went there to pick a flower to put above her ear, always. And sometimes, when I noticed that she didn't have a flower, I would go and check and bring one back to her. And she'd say, "Oh, thank you, sweetie." That's how I remember my mother, with a flower above the ear.
In the old times, the tiare flower was sacred, and only the kings were allowed to pick them and wear them. But during the past century, every Tahitian has started to use it. On the Tahiti peninsula, tiare is Tumata's favorite flower.
I pick them near the branch. Here. This way. They are more stable once in my hair. The tiare flower is a symbol of love, really, of warm welcome and prestige. It's beautiful and represents us well. And besides, it's unique.
The young woman is known for her internet tutorials that she records in the garden of her childhood.
I often come here, on the land of my grandparents, to shoot my videos. And it's a beautiful place, near the sea, with some wind. A lot of greenery too, which inspires me. And that's a place where I grew up. So it's perfect. I feel good here.
Her specialty, weaving flower crowns. She records the various steps thanks to her camera.
This tiare crown will go to the future beauty queen of Marina High School. It's a special order. I always show the tools and material I use. So here we have fern and tiare flowers. Here I have some raffia, which will help me sew. And my needle, of course. I take beautiful leaves with beautiful tips, and I remove them one by one. So the goal is to add some green that will bring out the petals of the tiare flowers. So I start with the leaves, not too big. I place them with care, especially with the tiare flower. The petals are fragile, and if I break one, it will most likely wither faster than the others. So I try to be careful as much as possible.
De façon, on dira paradoxale, cette industrie typiquement française, celle du savoir-faire des métiers du luxe, souvent, effectivement, se fournit dans des pays extrêmement pauvres, comme ici aux Comores. Et je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de problèmes de chômage de jeunes aux Comores, que beaucoup perdent la vie en mer pour partir à Mayotte ou je ne sais où. C'est dramatique. Et moi, je viens de dire, vous avez une agriculture qui potentiellement peut devenir quelque chose d'extraordinaire pour la population en général aussi. Et c'est aussi de notre responsabilité de travailler avec les Comores sur une filière pour l'îlan et d'autres choses. Merci. Ah, elles sont belles.
This is starting to look like something. And usually when I'm almost done, I'm in a hurry to finish because I want to see the end result. I have to pay attention not to damage the tiare flowers that are here as I place the crown, like this. So that I can
Les acteurs du
continue
luxe
sewing,
ont des
I
produits
must take care
qu'ils veulent
not to
pouvoir
push on the
continuer
crown.
à réaliser pendant un certain nombre d'années.
The tiare
Et
is starting to
ils sont
bloom,
absolument
so I
conscients
need to hurry to
de la
complete
fragilité et de la
this, so I can keep
vulnérabilité
them
des
in a
matières
cool
premières.
place.
Donc leur approche
And
maintenant
tomorrow,
n'est absolument
they'll be
plus
beautiful,
les riches qui exploitent les pauvres,
in
etc.
full bloom,
On n'est plus là-dedans,
white and
par
perfect
intérêt
for the
mutuel.
election.
On ne peut pas
Voilà.
se permettre de
It's
lâcher
done.
une filière
Just need
parce
to attach
que
it.
économiquement ce n'est
That's
pas
why there's a
viable.
big
Il
Velcro
faut avoir
band
une
here.
vision à moyen et long
It's
terme
quite
pour
heavy.
ces approvisionnements et prendre des initiatives de moyen et de long terme.
Beyond the folklore, the Tiare flower remains to this day a major part of the local culture. This legendary legacy has long contributed to the fame of the island and its beliefs. The flower of flowers is a key ingredient in the monoi, the sacred Polynesian oil. This gold-tinted balm has long been nourishing and perfuming the body and the hair of the Tahitians. Tiare Pere is the keeper of the manufacturing process. She learned the age-old gestures of the recipe from her grandmother and her aunts.
I need 2 coconuts, okay?
Along with her husband Nick, she created a company that blends tradition and modernity into a handmade product.
So I just asked my husband to grate some coconuts because I need to prepare more monoi. And since coconut is one of the key ingredients, I'm watching him grating it. And this is our working environment. We have a 180-degree view over the lagoon and the ocean. And it feels good. So now I'm going to prepare the monoi. So I'm adding the petals of the tiare flowers that we picked early this morning. I won't use the stem because it's full of water and chlorophyll. That's why we only keep the petals in our recipe.
There's a legend behind the tiare flower. The god of beauty, Aguirre, allegedly created it before giving the pure and fragrant flower to Mihir, a siren.
Mihia will take the flower with her to the bottom of the ocean. And there the flower will start to grow little by little. Some roots start to appear until the first tiare bush was born. And that's when we realize the legend behind the creation of the flower has to be true, since the tiare growing near the sea are much more beautiful than those further inland. This is called Tiare Aguirre, and it's full of salicylic acid. Once mixed with the monoi, it will help to bring out the oil inside the coconut. I'll start to air the mix a bit. The recipe says that using my hands allows me to have an early contact with the ingredients and nature. It's an exchange. There are the ingredients, but also something important that we don't see, the manner. That's what I add to the mix, as a person. So this phase is about the contact. And through what I feel in my hands, the smells that float around, I can tell right away
Apprendre à
that
tailler
this
ces
monoi
arbres C'est un
be
savoir-faire que les producteurs n'avaient pas.
Merveilleux.
C'est assez comique souvent au
Tetor
départ
tiare
parce que les
now
premières
adds to the
formations,
mix an
les
unusual
producteurs
ingredient,
se fâchent
black
parfois
pearls of Tahiti.
énormément après les formateurs parce
So
qu'ils
here
s'imaginent
I'm
que leur
adding the
champ a été
pearls
ravagé.
right at the
Et
beginning,
c'est seulement
so
2-3
they get to
semaines
know the
après
flowers
qu'ils sont
and the coconut.
ébahis et qu'ils rappellent les
The black pearls
formateurs
of
pour qu'ils reviennent
Tahiti
dans leur
are
champ
made
et
by
qu'ils en
calcium
demandent encore
concretion
plus parce que
and are
effectivement
known for
les
their
fleurs commencent à donner
anti-aging
beaucoup.
properties.
Pour donner un ordre de grandeur, 2 mois après
And now
les
I'm going to
premières
leave this to
formations,
dry in the
le
sun.
champ a doublé sa
I
production.
take it out every morning
6 mois
for a
après, le
couple
champ
of
a
weeks
quadruplé sa production.
and bring
Donc
it
un
back
champ par
in
exemple qui
when
donnait
the sun
50 kilos de
begins to
fleurs
set.
va en donner 200 6 mois après.
It'll take 6 weeks before the mix is ready to be filtered.
Donc voilà, tu vois là,
So here is the coconut. It gave a lot of water.
on voit que
It's ready.
il a bien rendu. Il est prêt.
When we pick a flower, we talk to it. The tiara flowers we picked this morning, well, before picking them, we talk to them. We say, good morning. I come to you today because I need your help. I'm going to make some monoi. I'm sorry, but I'll have to pick you. But I love you. You know, I love you a lot. And I know your strength, your power. Thank you. Thanks for everything you'll give me. Respect for the plants is important for us Polynesians.
Since 1992, monoi is the only product of Polynesia covered by a protected designation of origin. Despite space being limited on the pirogues, Tahitian sailors always brought tiare bushes with them during their expeditions. That's how important they were. Indeed, every part of a tiare bush can be useful.
C'est un grand
From being
privilège
a
que de pouvoir la
decoration
sentir
plant, it can
soit
turn into a medicinal
sur l'arbre
plant.
ou fraîchement cueillie comme ça, c'est absolument unique. Hein. Non, je pense qu'à Paris, sur son fauteuil, on n'imagine pas ce que ça peut sentir.
Tiare! Tetor tiare! Ah!
C'est
Hello, Auntie.
intoxiquant.
How are you
Ce
doing,
camion,
darling?
c'est
I'm good. And
la
you?
voie
Are you
royale pour le
well?
paradis.
Of course,
C'est génial.
everything's good. Everything's fine.
Tetor Tiare
Et c'est très
knows
puissant.
about the
Hein. C'est
tiare
une note
flower's
qui a
medicinal
beaucoup de
properties.
caractère. Et c'est ce qu'on cherche aussi dans certaines fleurs,
Many children are
c'est
not
d'avoir
at
un
school
caractère
right now
puissant
because they've
avec
got the flu.
une signature
So I
très
brought these
particulière, c'est
leaves
celle de
because I
l'hiver.
wanted to show you how to use them to cure the children. Ah, okay, all right. So I'll grab my notebooks with all my recipes. You need 30 leaves for 3 days. It's a 3-day treatment. All right, 30 leaves a day for 3 days. So you have 90 here, per day, for 3 days. So there are 90
En
here.
général, les fleurs, donc,
Which is enough.
toutes, quelles qu'elles soient, n'aiment pas voyager,
And how
c'est
many litres
fragile.
of water
Il y a
do I
un
need?
phénomène d'oxydation
Okay.
qui se remarque très vite ici.
You can
La
use
fleur
2 litres.
brunit en
You boil
quelques
them,
heures.
and then
Donc, il
you
faut la
use steam.
distiller immédiatement ou au plus vite.
You can also bathe the children with it, if you want. All right, right. And regarding the flowers, when should you pick them? Well, you should pick them the previous day. All the small details matter. So I write down everything, every time. That way I have a kind of scientific approach to this. I can say, well, here's how to prepare this traditional medicine. Here are the effects, and all that. It's a way to create bridges between modern and traditional medicine. That's all we had once upon a time. We didn't have doctors. We didn't have anything. And so we made do with what was available. Polynesians at that time made their medicines themselves. Let's do this. Now it should be ready.
Traditional medicine encompasses rituals and beliefs, but the therapeutic properties of the tiare flowers are very real and attract the curiosity of researchers looking for new cures. Every year, the CIPAM gathers researchers from all over the archipelago to discuss the latest discoveries, and it seems the tiare still holds many secrets. Patrice Tenori is the most famous herbalist in the region. He dedicated his life to the practice of traditional medicine based on plants.
When I started to work, there were lots of people. Every single day from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. it was full at my place. It's been like that for 30 years, and I could no longer stand it.
Today he's retired, but he still agreed to invite us in his garden to unveil the mystery behind a tiare recipe. For this specific infusion, he needs tiare buds.
We don't take these ones, but this one is good. Here. Yeah, these ones are good.
Only his wife Elise is allowed to gather the remaining ingredients, mostly fern roots.
So, when using this, we should always remove the root. We use only the upper part, these leaves here, and we add them to the water. Then we add the 2 tiara flowers, and then the ferns. Yeah. We have 2 kinds, and we never use the leaves. We use this part instead, always with 2 fingers. Then we look for this. We always use 2 fingers for the mix. Then we add it to the water. According to tradition, we should always make a short prayer before starting to bless what we're about to do. So we always crush them 2 by 2.
Know-how is just as important as the gift of healing handed down by the ancestors.
I was always with them. I was always here when I was a kid. I didn't really go to school, but I learned a lot with them. Since I was 12 or 11, I spent time with my grandmother. And she taught me to look around myself at where I was, how children, men and women work. But I only started preparing recipes when I was around 22. I started to learn her craft. So it didn't come overnight. So once it's ready, you put it in water like this, in a glass. And that's when you get the colour.
Tiare-based medicine can be potions, steam bath, infusions or poultices, and help combat fatigue, sunburns, and queasy stomachs.
I like to add a small spoon of brown sugar. You mix it a bit and drink it up. And that's called rao.
Here in Tiare, the most sacred and wild island in the archipelago, one of the rarest flowers in the world grows, Tiare Apetahi. The closest relative to the Tiare Tahiti, but the flower is under threat. Looking for it can only be done with specialized guides, such as Romy.
So now we're going to go upwards and we'll reach a rock. Be careful when going up. Once we're past that rock, we'll try to stay quiet until the crest line. But you can take pictures, observe and whisper. Shall we?
The Tiare Apetahi flower grows only on the sides of the Temahani Plateau, 772 meters above sea level.
The hike isn't as easy as it may seem. You need a good physical condition to begin with, and the will to go through this journey. It takes at least 3 hours of walking on slopes and slippery ground. On the other hand, the view up there is magnificent. And the wind brings a kind of purity and feeling of peace after such an ordeal.
As they climb up, the group of hikers starts to look for the famous flower. But the species is dwindling, due in no small part to the greed of visitors who considered it a trophy.
The opening of the track we took allowed people to climb more easily and to pick the flower, to pick samples, to make garlands for guests and famous people. It was also a mark of courage, or maybe not courage, instead we should say for a young man or woman. They could say, I climbed to the top of the Temahani and the proof is this flower or bud I brought back. There were no smartphones at the time. Nowadays, there are less visitors, and since 1995, it's forbidden to pick, transport or own the flower. As we say, teaching is repeating. So please, keep this same message, this same campaign of information and awareness. People hear, they listen, and later they repeat to their children and other members of their family. They'll teach the instructions and the processes to follow. That's the interesting part. The country came up with a law, a rule, an official text. But if no one's here to remind how to do things, it just won't work. So this is a bit our fight, one of Tuihana's quests since 2005.
At the foot of the Temahani Plateau, botanist Fred Jacques and his team are already in place.
So, we have two opposite types, the moor and the forest.
As consultant to the direction of the environment of French Polynesia, Fred Jacques is responsible for preserving the flower, which is on the list of endangered species.
We've been following the Tiare Apetahi for about 10 years now on both plateaus. We calculated that over the course of 20 years, the extinction rate reached 81%. And extinction doesn't just mean death. It means that despite young plants growing up, 81% of the population at the time has completely disappeared. On this plateau, for instance, we had about 100. Nowadays, we're hardly reaching 10 that we can work on. There are so many factors coming into play, including invasive plants that are basically destroying the whole habitat. And it's a small one, barely 300 hectares. So we have two teams manually removing the plants before they take over the entire natural vegetation of the plateau. And there are mainly two invasive plants that cause troubles: the feijoa, or Rhodamyrtus tomentosa, and the cocoa plum, or Chrysobala cacao.
Removing the plants is done by hand, a tiresome work monitored in details. Let's follow Fred Jacques to have a look at the miraculous flower. Behind this fence lies one of the last specimens in the world. The fragile flower opens up only at dawn, thus showing its 5 beautiful petals, like the fingers of a hand. Its name comes from Apetahi, a young woman who, mad with sorrow because her lover left, cut her hand off and threw herself off a cliff. A sad legend that mirrors the fragility of this unique flower.
So what's special about this plant is that it has two parts. Here's the green branch, the whole branch here, and here is the wooden branch, we'd call it. The problem is that only the green part is alive as a plant. That's where the flowers grow. So it's not very long, a couple of centimeters at most. And the problem is that if we break it right below the green part, then the whole branch dies. We've never seen it grow again. So it's easy to understand the impact of various events. If humans pick the flower, it'll kill the branch. If a rat eats it, it'll kill the branch. Same with mushrooms, whose apex will kill the branch. So it happens very quickly. So we tried to give some instructions to the population, to tell them what to do when nearing Tiare Apetahi, to remove backpacks, to avoid having too many people nearby, not to touch the flower, since it can break and be contaminated by mushrooms we picked off somewhere, and, of course, not to cut it, or touching its habitat.
The plant's survival may depend on its cuttings, but here too it's delicate work.
This is a path that's been around for a very long time. The whole mountain used to be covered with Tiare Apetahi, and people created that path to be able to come all the way here. When we arrived, a bit more than 10 years ago, to work on the Tiare, the whole mountainside was covered with Tiare Apetahi. Nowadays, there's only this one left down there. So, we decided to try to plant new ones in the area, but it takes time. Here we have a fruit. I'll get it. Let's have a look and see if it's interesting. We can check the size of the seeds, less than a millimeter. Yet that's what allows us to multiply the Tiare Apetahi, by gathering its fruits. Unfortunately, when looking below, here, there aren't any others. It's like the plant can't regenerate itself naturally. At the moment, the only solution we found is to plant the seeds ourselves and protect them for several years before planting them again in the local soil. That's how we strengthen the current population. Unfortunately, out of 100 seeds planted, only 4 reach 4 years old. Our success rate is only 4% right now. And this one was planted about 8 years ago, more or less. It's a bit below 20 centimeters high. Tiare Apetahi grows very slowly. We calculated an average of 2 centimeters per year, and so our wish is to one day see a flower bloom from one of the plants we planted. So we could say, that's it. We managed to complete the cycle of the Tiare Apetahi and to gather seeds from a flower we planted.
Starting this year, the minister declared the preservation of Tiare Apetahi a national priority, a new hope that could come as a reward for the botanist's years of work.
Thanks to this symbolic plant, we managed to gather funding from the EU or national. We benefited from a national strategy for biodiversity. Then there are, of course, the local funds from the Direction for the Environment and the ministries that are trying to save the habitat. And by saving the habitat, we can save the birds and insects. We can save every other plant species endemic to this plateau. Thanks to one truly symbolic species, we can save many others. We calculated and reached a total of 30 plants just on this plateau that are endangered.
To be remembered in order to be saved. That may well be the solution for the survival of this flower. In front of Tahiti lies Moria, its sister. This is the famous bay explorer James Cook named after having reached Polynesia. At the foot of Mount Rotui, in the heart of a sheltered yet wild domain, lies the region's agricultural college. Teenagers from 16 to 19 years old are learning agriculture-related trades.
You multiply by the other side. And then we say that we have a slab of 120 holes, 55 holes, and so on. Okay? Take your slab. So.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 60 holes.
So we'll have 60 plants. And these are big holes, all right?
In the heart of a field of Tiare, headmaster Philippe Maher is giving a private lecture to Apia, a student in trade and sales.
You need to avoid damaged flowers, you see. It's too late for this one. And it's damaged.
And this one? Is it okay?
This one is on the edge. You should take the highest quality flowers with almost no flaws. This one's good. Take your time. The goal is to really pick the most beautiful ones, so they have the most fragrance. There are about 30 bushes here. We regularly trim them to maintain a comfortable height for everyone to harvest. Otherwise, they would tend to grow higher, but also deeper, and they'd lose their productivity. We have almost daily harvests, depending on the needs. Do you like the fragrance of the tiara?
Yeah, I love it. Especially its taste. It's quite unique. Tastes a bit like honey.
To find out why this high school is so successful, we're following Apia to the kitchen.
You know what you're going to do here? You'll remove the petals. Look, I'll show you. You remove the petals and put them here. Once you're done, we'll clean them. All right? Once your pot of sugar is ready, you add the petals and you keep an eye on it. You stir once in a while until the petals become transparent, until they absorb a lot of sugar. I'll leave you at it.
In this brass cauldron, the flour is soaking up sugar to turn into jam.
We do this every day. We can make 100 to 200 jars a day, at least. But I adjust according to the sales. My stock is too low. I can't make a lot. So I adjust according to the needs.
Once they've received their labels, the jam jars are brought to the faré vente. Apia and the other students are trained in sales, and they manage a small shop that sells their products directly to the tourists.
Let's have a little tasting. Let me introduce the flavours. This one is Tiare flowers with the petal.
It's really tasty. Excellent. Too bad it's so far to bring it back. But we'll take a small jar anyway. We should taste everything.
The taste of like the honey, but it's not the honey. That's the gardenia flowers. Nice. The homemade.
Thank you very much.
Made by the student here.
This is one of the school's flagship jams. In other tropical countries, you'll find jams that are similar to ours: pineapple, mango, papaya, guava, etc. But tiara flowers are typical from Polynesia. And so people coming here can, in a way, go home with the taste, the smell of Polynesia.
In the Tahitian culture, the love and contemplation of nature reach their peak in the art of traditional dances.
At 5 p.m. we're ready.
Jean-Marie Biret is the leader of the Manahau troupe.
Add this. If you can, add some red and this too. They don't have to be exactly identical. Only great castles feature gardens where everything is perfectly aligned. And we need tiara flowers too, okay? We use elements from our surroundings, and I think it contributes to the fact that the audience feels connected. Their environment is talking to them. That's why it's great to work with natural items. Everything can be found in our gardens. Some things can't be prepared long in advance because we're using plants. They'll wither. There are fragile flowers, so we have to work just in time, not too early and not too late. When you put them together, they'll click, like this, not more. Yeah. And I think we need 40 per person. 40 flowers. Okay, here you go.
The main theme of tonight's show is purity, and the tiare flower was chosen as the basic element of every costume.
How many do you have? 7 garlands already. I wanted to make sure there would be enough flowers. And you have to leave some threads in order to attach it. I always loved these necklaces with only tiara flowers. Pure. I like this image of purity, the colour. Tiara flowers represent us, I think. And even I am in love with Tahiti. Big time. I like to talk about Tahiti. I like to live with Tahiti. I love to live with Tahiti. I like to share it. It's a place, it's a lifestyle, a soft thought, and I like this a lot. Perhaps we're protected. Sometimes such a small island can make problems go far away, but we're also sheltered from a lot of things. Sheltered from the hustle and bustle.
Missionaries used to forbid dancing, and for a great majority of the population, it's a way today to express their identity.
Their culture is what they live today. Sometimes in our country we use words that mean something else, like everywhere. When we say culture, it sounds like we're talking about things that happened a long time ago. I say, no, that's called the past. It's not our culture, it's the past. We draw inspiration from it, we come from it. But our culture is what we are. It's our way of living today, here and now. Well, I'm happy because we're getting there. Thank you all for your efforts. I pushed and complained, but the machine had to move on and we're just in time.
This is a very special show. It's actually a dance contest where the most famous groups from all over Polynesia will compete against each other.
Here, man, that's a present. The wooden props are on the other side. Everything you guys made. We have 5 minutes to bring them on scene. Put them the way we want, try, and then we leave.
2 years ago, they won in the artistic plant category, and Jean-Marie hopes they can win again. Jean-Marie's troupe moves from one theme to the next in front of an audience filled with rapture and seduced by the Tiare flower. Groups will perform in front of a professional jury over the course of the evening in an effort to reach the final. In a country where tradition is handed down orally, Tahitian dance is a way to preserve the memory of a deep collective life, in the centre of which lies the Tiare flower. And rather than the victory of a single troupe, it is the victory of the whole Polynesian culture that is celebrated tonight. In this tale, the Tiare flowers prove to be the cultural cradle of a people who love their country, who care about its traditions, and are keepers of a fragile heritage that must be looked after. A country whose beauty and colours are so powerful that Louis-Antoine de Bougainville felt deeply attached to it. As long as I live, I shall celebrate the fortunate island. Nature placed it amidst the most beautiful climate in the universe, dressed it up with the happiest look, and enriched it with all its gifts. There lies the true utopia.